It's something we all face sooner or later. That feeling of slowing down, saying more goodbyes, the sense that time is just speeding up. So, how do we handle the sorrows that can come with aging? Well, today, we're going to dive into a really powerful text that doesn't just talk about this universal challenge, it offers a profound way to turn that despair into genuine hope.
Wow. This quote just perfectly captures that creeping feeling of getting older, doesn't it? It's not some big, sudden collapse. It's a slow, steady process. Each day, another little piece falls away. And before you even realize it, the whole structure of your life can feel like it's crumbling. And that's really the core question we're exploring today. What do you do when you finally wake up and see that the building is in ruins?
So, where does this all come from? Well, our guide for this is a work by the scholar Said Nursi. It's called The 26th Flash, but it's also known as the Treatise for the Elderly. And this wasn't just some academic exercise for him. He wrote it in his own old age, and it's a deeply personal story about the remedies he found for his own very real sorrows.
What's so amazing about his approach is that he doesn't try to hide from the pain. Actually, he does the opposite. He leans right into it. He carefully describes his own afflictions, his own sadness, to set up this incredible contrast. His whole point is to show that the spiritual comfort he finds isn't just a small thing. No, it's a light so powerful it can illuminate even the absolute darkest places.
Okay, so what exactly are these sorrows he's talking about? Well, he identifies a bunch of universal pains that tend to come with getting older. These are afflictions that I think we can all relate to, things that feel both deeply personal and somehow totally inescapable. Let's take a look at the specific challenges he lays out.
He talks about this feeling of everything aging all at once, not just him, but the day itself, the year, even the whole world. He feels this immense weight of being separated from thousands of friends who've passed away. His own body feels like a house that's just falling apart. And then, on top of all that, there's this sense of being in exile, of being lonely and weak, and even this deep regret for maybe wasting the energy of his youth. And you can feel the depth of his despair here. He presents this state of being not just as sadness, but as a spiritual wound that seems completely incurable. He compares it to an illness so deep that even the legendary wise healer Lukman couldn't find a remedy. He's basically set up a problem that looks absolutely hopeless. But then, right when the despair hits its absolute peak, he pivots. He introduces this powerful light, a source of hope that he says can, in fact, cure this so-called incurable ill. And this, right here, is the very heart of his treatise. So what is this remedy? It's belief, but not just a passive, yeah, I guess so, kind of belief. He's talking about an active, transformative force. He describes it as the ultimate source, the spring from which all light and hope flows. And it's powerful enough to completely reframe the entire experience of aging and loss.
So how does this work in practice? Well, he breaks it down into 4 pillars. First, it's about recognizing a divine mercy that's bigger than any of our own weaknesses. Second, it's about finding guidance in the example of the prophet. Third, turning to the Quran as a source of healing itself. And fourth, and this one is the real cornerstone, a solid belief in an afterlife where all that separation finally comes to an end.
Okay, so we've seen the problem and we've seen the proposed solution. Now for the really cool part. Let's look at how he actually applies this framework to transform those specific, painful sorrows of old age. And here's the first major transformation. That awful feeling of being a lonely, powerless stranger in the world, it gets turned completely on its head. When you look through this lens of belief, that desolation is replaced by a deep sense of divine companionship. All of a sudden, you're not alone anymore.
Now, this might just be the most powerful reframing of all. The grave, the ultimate symbol of loss, of final separation, is completely redefined. It's no longer an end. It becomes a destination, a meeting place. Suddenly, death isn't a final goodbye, it's a journey toward reunion.
And to show just how total this transformation really is, the author describes this one moment, a moment of profound despair he had while looking out from the old citadel in Ankara. He felt completely trapped, with sorrow coming at him from every single direction, the past, the future, the present, from above, from below, all around him.
Just look at this. This is the complete shift in perception laid out plain as day. Through what he calls the light of belief, every single one of those directions of despair is transformed into hope. The past is no longer a graveyard, it's a reunion of old friends. The future isn't a dark, scary void, it's a promise of beautiful palaces. The present world, it changes from a coffin into a temporary, welcoming guest house. This isn't just about changing your mood, this is about fundamentally changing how you see reality itself.
So when you put all of this together, what's the ultimate results of this massive reframing? Well, the author argues that it leads to a completely new, a completely different experience of old age itself. I mean, the contrast here could not be more stark. For someone who is, as he says, heedless of this spiritual dimension, old age is just cold, painful, dark, a burden. But for the believer, it becomes luminous and warm. It's no longer an ending to be afraid of, but a meaningful stage of life that's actually a doorway to eternal youth.
And get this is the author's own powerful testimony. He's not just talking theory, he's saying he lived this transformation. He says point blank that he wouldn't trade even 1 year of his new, enlightened old age for 10 years of his younger self. He found a kind of contentment that made his final years more valuable to him than his prime.
And that brings us right back to where we started, doesn't it? The author offers one profound answer, an answer rooted in faith and in reframing reality. But his journey leaves all of us with a universal question to think about. When we start to see the stones of our own lives begin to fall, where will we turn to find our own light?